Monday, February 2nd to order. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilmember Hayes.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us here today. We thank you for the opportunity to serve and to live in this community. We ask for your gifts of understanding and wisdom as we meet tonight. Pray for protection of our citizens, our first responders, and pray for your continued blessing on our community. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Hayes.
Here.
Councilmember Horniman.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Reesner.
Here.
Councilmember Snee.
Here.
Councilmember Dougherty.
Here.
Councilmember Decker.
Here. Let the record show all 7 members of council are present this evening. We have minutes from January 20th, 2026 regular and committee of the whole were distributed and sent with some changes. Are there any other questions, corrections, or deletions? All right, those will stand approved. We are now under committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilmember Reesner.
No report, Madam President.
Law and Community Planning, Councilmember Dougherty.
No report, Madam President.
Material and Equipment, Councilmember Jones.
No report, Madam President.
Personnel and Labor Relations, Councilmember Decker.
I do have a report, Madam President. A Personnel and Labor Committee meeting was held on Wednesday, January 28th, 2026 in council chambers. Attending were council members Ashley Decker, John Hayes, Kyle Dougherty. Also attending were Mayor Lee Wilkinson, Director of Law Zachary Fowler, and City Administrator Nick Dutro. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the mayor's request for legislation 2606, holiday overtime for non-union staff. Councilmember Decker called the meeting to order at 5:15. Mayor Wilkinson began by clarifying that although the body of his letter referenced overtime for the engineering department, the legislation would apply to all non-union staff that worked holidays. Mr. Dutro provided background reminding council that the engineering department is taking on required inspections for sewer projects instead of hiring outside contractors. This saves the city money. However, the holiday schedule is not in alignment with inspection needs. For example, the contractor doing sewer work for the city would have worked on Martin Luther King Jr. Day had the weather cooperated. Currently, staff do not get additional compensation. The mayor's request proposes a policy that would make it advantageous for employees to come in on the holiday by offering the employee an opportunity to either take another day off or get paid time and a half for working the holiday. This is in line with current union contracts. The legislation would apply to any department, not just engineering. Mr. Dutro noted several examples, saying Chief Pauley often works holidays because of the parades, and the Parks Department staff work 4th of July for fireworks. Flexing time off is often challenging for staff because of their regular duties. For example, Parks needs to make sure that the pool is open in the summer. The proposed overtime on holidays has not been a benefit provided to non-union staff previously. Any employee using it would need to get approval. Councilmember Decker asked that if this was accounted for in budgeting. The administrator noted that there may be a need to create another line item in budgets to accommodate it, and it could be an upcoming request to council. At this time, however, he believed that most departments would be able to cover the premium pay in their current budgets, but would need funds moved from regular hours to this new line item. Councilmember Hayes asked if the benefit applied regardless of the total number of hours worked. The administrator responded saying that it applies to any time worked on the holiday itself, regardless of the number of hours worked the rest of the week. Councilmember Hayes made a motion for the law director to draft legislation for overtime pay on holidays. Councilmember Dougherty seconded the motion. The motion passed 3-0.
Thank you. Any questions on that committee report? Right, takes us to Recreation and Public Property, Councilmember Snee.
No report, Madam President.
Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers, Councilmember Hayes.
No report, Madam President.
Economic Development and Downtown Planning, Councilmember Horniman.
No report, Madam President.
Thank you. Does anyone see the need to schedule a committee of the whole meeting? Right, we are now under reports of the officers. His Honor Mayor Lee Wilkinson.
Thank you, Madam President. I do want to announce to, like anyone listening, that we have upcoming sewer work on Market Street right outside our building here. And could start as early as February 16th. It's going to be done block by block. So the block from Monroe Street to Washington Street is going to have to be closed totally to traffic and on-street parking while that sewer work is being done. And then when that opens, then they will close the next block. So that it won't be a full closure of the entire Market Street. But there will be detours around, and we'll just have to be patient with that and follow the detours. And next, I would like to introduce Chief Polly, who has some awards for the police department and the dispatchers. Chief Polly.
Thank you, Mayor. I wonder if you could get here. Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me some time to acknowledge some of the good work that our folks did in 2025. I'm just going to have the recipients come up here into the well. Just everybody come on up here so that the council can see you and all your friends and family can see you. Oh, no. Yep, sure, that's fine, I guess. Up in there, let me move this. You need to get it, so you scooch in there. All right, to begin with, perfect attendance. Sergeant Jared Watson, Officer Alec Traxler, Marcus Summers, and Michael Moore. To begin, it's something that I've mentioned before to this body, and it's essential. It's an essential and attainable skill for every single member of the Tiffin Police Department, and that's availability. Availability is the intersection of accessibility and consistency, and it stands as one of the most important qualities any employee can possess. Consistency, presence, and readiness are embodied by these four officers. Being consistently present and ready every day is no small feat in the field of law enforcement, and it's essential to acknowledge this achievement. Sergeant Watson has received the Perfect Attendance Award for the sixth time in his career, Detective Summers for his third time, Officer Traxler for his second time, and Officer Moore has an impressive 13 times. So let me hand these out to Sergeant Watson, Alec, and Marcus. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. And next up, and Michael Moore was not able to be here tonight, so I'll be sure that he gets that. Next up, it's my honor to present the department's leadership award to Sergeant Joe Feld. True leadership isn't always about rank and authority. It's about stepping forward quietly without being asked when something critical needs to be done. Sergeant Feld exemplifies exactly that. He identified a significant vulnerability in our department, the tracking and submission of the continuing professional training hours that the state of Ohio mandates. These hours are mandatory, and failure to comply jeopardizes our officers' certifications and the city's ability to deliver public safety. Without prompting, Sergeant Feld took ownership. He organized, tracked, and ensured accurate submission of CPT hours, safeguarding compliance and protecting our officers' ability to serve our community. Beyond this project, Sergeant Feld consistently demonstrates leadership through his actions and example. He promotes community policing, models professionalism and accountability, guides his team, mentors officers, and steps up when challenges arise. Simply put, he is the kind of leader others follow because they trust his judgment, integrity, and work ethic. For his initiative, dedication, and unwavering commitment to the mission of this department and the safety of our community, it is my privilege to present Sergeant Feld with the Tiffin Police Department Leadership Award. Congratulations, Joe. All right, next up, Marcus, can you step right back in here for me, please? Officer of the Year, Officer Marcus Summers, Detective Marcus Summers. Congratulations on being selected as the Tiffin Police Department's Officer of the Year. This award is presented annually following a thorough and deliberate selection process, and your performance throughout the year clearly distinguished you among your peers. Throughout his career, and certainly in the past year, Officer Summers has demonstrated a tireless work ethic, unwavering dedication, and a strong commitment to both the department and the citizens we serve. The command staff and sergeants consistently recognize his professionalism, reliability, and high level of service he provides every single day. Officer Summers leads by example through his actions, setting a standard of excellence that others strive to meet. His daily performance reflects pride in the badge, attention to detail, and a genuine commitment to doing the job the right way. His efforts not only enhance the reputation of the Tiffin Police Department, but also reflect positively on the city of Tiffin as a whole. This marks Officer Summers' first Officer of the Year award, and it's a well-earned recognition of his hard work, dedication, and professionalism. Congratulations on this well-earned. All right. Well, I'm going to mention Patty. Patty McIntyre is our Dispatcher of the Year. She was not able to be here tonight, but I still would like to recognize her. Patty McIntyre has been named Dispatcher of the Year for the second time in just 3 years. This distinction speaks volumes about her consistency, professionalism, and the high standard she brings to the communication center every day. Throughout 2025, Dispatcher McIntyre demonstrated unwavering dedication and steadfast commitment to the Tiffin Police Department and the community we serve. The command staff, sergeants, and dispatch supervisor consistently commend her exceptional work ethic, reliability, and calm professional manner in which she handles even the most challenging situations. Her performance serves as a model to others to follow. Patty's attention to detail, composure under pressure, and commitment to excellence are evident in her daily work and have a direct impact on officer safety and the quality of service we can provide to the community. Earning Dispatcher of the Year honors twice in 3 years is no small achievement and is a clear reflection of the respect she has earned from her peers and supervisors alike. I thank her for her continued dedication and outstanding service. Patty McIntyre. And last, but certainly not least, it's my honor to recognize Beth Dell as our Civilian Employee of the Year. Beth wears many hats in this department and somehow manages to make it all look effortless. She serves as our evidence custodian, the administrative professional for the criminal division, and she has taken the lead in spearheading our recruitment efforts across the state of Ohio. That alone would be impressive. What truly sets Beth apart, though, is the pace and passion she brings to everything she does. Beth is nonstop. When she finishes one task, she's already asking what else needs to get done and finds 2 more things we didn't even realize needed attention. Her persistence, attention to detail, and commitment to doing things the right way makes a daily difference in the success of this department. She doesn't just support our mission, she absolutely strengthens it. And beyond the job titles and responsibility, Beth brings something just as valuable: heart. She is genuinely kind, endlessly helpful, and always looking for ways to go above and beyond for the members of our community. Sometimes we have to gently remind her that she can't solve every problem for every person, though she certainly is willing to try. Beth, your work ethic, dedication, and compassion do not go unnoticed. We are incredibly fortunate to have you as a part of this team. Thank you for everything you do, and congratulations on being named Civilian Employee of the Year. Thank you very much. Did you want to get a quick picture? Scooch in. Scooch in. You too, Beth.
We need bigger chambers.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Chief.
Some pictures if you all want to follow me. Yep. Okay. Congratulations. Thank you.
Have a good meeting. Thank you.
Stay.
right. I am going to move on, or I'm sorry, Mayor, was that the end of your report?
And that concludes my report.
Okay, sorry. All right, Clerk of Council Ann Forrest.
No report, Madam President.
All right, Director of Finance Jill Lindhorst.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a few requests for legislations tonight. The request for legislation F26-3 to amend the 2026 budget ordinance 25-98 to appropriate funds into the general fund. This is to appropriate a reimbursement for $30 received by the Tiffin Police Department for video redaction processing and $37,988.02 received by the Tiffin Police Department for a training grant from the Ohio Attorney General. The next request for legislation, F26-4, to amend the 2026 budget ordinance 25-98. This is a transfer of funds in between several departments in the general fund to meet expenses. The departments that would be having some transfers are the General Administration Department to the City Administration Department. That's $1,000. $2,000 from the City Administrator Department to the General Administration Department, and $4,000 from the City Hall Department to the General Administration Department. It's just moving line items in order to meet needs. So
Thank you.
that concludes my report.
All right, and Director of Law Zach Fowler.
No report, Madam President.
Okay, we are now under written communications.
We have Mayor's request for legislation, number 26-07, application to NOPEC Energized Community Grant.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-07 is assigned to the Economic Development and Downtown Planning Committee.
Mayor's request for legislation, number 26-08, expansion of CRA number 4.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-08 is also assigned to the Economic Development and Downtown Planning Committee.
Mayor's request for legislation, number 26-10, ODOT consent legislation.
Mayor's request for legislation number 26-10 is assigned to the Street, Sidewalks, and Sewers Committee.
Finance Director's request for legislation, number F26-03, to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance 2025-98 to appropriate funds into the general fund.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-03 is prepared this evening as ordinance 26-14.
Finance Director's request for legislation, number F26-04, to amend the 2026 Budget Ordinance 2025-98 to reallocate funds in the general fund.
Finance Director's request for legislation number F26-04 is also prepared tonight as ordinance 26-14.
And we have the fourth quarter 2025 credit card compliance report that was received from the compliance officer, Linda Neely.
Thank you. This is Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to accept the credit card compliance report for the reporting period, fourth quarter 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion to accept the credit card compliance report for the fourth quarter of 2025. Is there a second? Councilmember Doherty.
I'll second that motion, Madam President.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. We are now under oral communications. Anyone wishing to address council may step to the podium, sign in, and direct your questions to myself. All right, we are under motions. Any motions this evening? Okay, we are under resolutions and ordinances.
Resolution number 2026-4, introduced by John Hayes, a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF, agreement on behalf of the city of Tiffin for the construction of wastewater facilities involving the Interceptor Upgrade Project, designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of resolution 26-4.
Resolution number 2026-5, introduced by John Hayes, a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF, agreement on behalf of the city of Tiffin for the construction of wastewater facilities involving the high-rate treatment project, designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of Resolution 26-5.
Resolution number 2026-6, introduced by John Hayes, a resolution authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, WPCLF agreement, on behalf of the City of Tiffin for the construction of wastewater facilities involving the 2026 sewer replacement project, designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of Resolution 26-6.
Resolution number 2026-7, introduced by John Hayes, a resolution authorizing participation in the ODOT road salt contracts awarded in 2026.
This is the second reading of Resolution 26-7.
Ordinance number 2026-5, introduced by Ashley Decker, an ordinance amending Section 165.06A of the codified ordinances to include Juneteenth as a paid holiday.
This is the second reading of Ordinance 26-5.
Ordinance number 2026-6, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the construction of the Interceptor Upgrade Project, and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of Ordinance 26-6.
Ordinance number 2026-7, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the construction of the high-rate treatment facility, and declaring an emergency.
This is the second reading of Ordinance 26-7.
Ordinance number 2026-8, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to prepare plans and specifications, advertise for and receive bids, recommend and execute a contract for the construction of the 2026 sewer replacement project.
This is the second reading of Ordinance 26-8.
Ordinance number 2026-9, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city administrator to solicit qualifications from and enter into a contract with a professional design firm for professional design services and construction administration services for repairs to the city's Sandusky River Wall.
This is a second reading of Ordinance 26-9.
Ordinance number 2026-10, introduced by John Hayes, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept easements from Heidelberg University for a sanitary sewer and the public use of sidewalks east of the extension of Walker Street, south of Main Street, and west of Rock Creek.
This is the second reading of Ordinance 26-10.
Ordinance number 2026-13, introduced by Ashley Decker, an ordinance amending Section 165.06 of the codified ordinances to enact subdivision D to provide holiday pay for all full-time employees of the city, except those included in collective bargaining agreements.
This is the first reading of Ordinance 26-13.
Ordinance number 2026-14, introduced by Kevin Reesner, an ordinance amending the 2026 budget ordinance 2025-98 to appropriate funds into the police department budget and to transfer funds from the general administration budget to the city administrator budget, from the city administrator budget to the general administration budget, and from the city hall budget to the general administration budget, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. This is the first reading of Ordinance 26-14. Councilmember Reesner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for immediate passage of ordinance 26-14, suspending city council's reading rule.
Thank you. This is, there is a motion for suspension of council's three reading rule and immediate passage of Ordinance 26-14. Is there a second? Councilmember Jones.
I second that motion, Madam President.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilmember Reesner.
Okay, this is for a series of line item changes to meet needs. These were explained prior by the city administrator and the finance director, which included like an IT services employee and the EV charger. So we're looking at personal services and wages, $30, Other services and expenses, $37,988.02. And then that's at the 101 general fund. And then also in the 101 general fund, $1,000, $2,000, and $4,000.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, we will first vote on the suspension.
Councilmember Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
And Decker.
Yes.
Suspension passes with a vote of 7-0. We'll now vote on the emergency.
Councilmember Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
And Snee. I'm sorry, Decker.
Yes.
Emergency passes with a vote of 7-0. We'll now vote on the passage.
Councilmember Hayes.
Yes.
Horniman.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Reesner.
What's happening?
Reesner.
Yes.
Snee.
Yes.
Dougherty.
Yes.
And Decker.
Yes.
Ordinance 26-14 passes with a vote of 7-0.
And that concludes the legislation, Madam
Thank
President.
you. We are now under other business. Councilmember Herdeman or Councilmember Hayes?
Yes, I'd like to announce a Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting for Monday, February 9th in council chambers. We will be discussing Mayor's request for legislation number 26-10. This is the ODOT consent legislation and any other business that comes before our committee.
Perfect, thank you. Councilmember Herdeman.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to announce an economic development and downtown planning meeting for Monday, February 9th, immediately following the Street Sidewalks and Sewers Committee meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss Mayor's request 2607 and 2608. The first one is the NOPEC grant to discuss that, and then the second one is the Community Reinvestment Area number 4, which includes additional property on the north side.
Perfect, thank you. Councilmember Reeser.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to share with you and the rest of the council that I recently attended the TMA COG, which stands for Toledo Metropolitan Area Council of Governments. That was up in Perrysburg last week. Was pleased to see the Chamber of Commerce, the collaborative people there too. While I was there, I just wanted to share a few of the roundtable items they discussed, and I didn't go really to take a stance on these, just kind of learn about them a little bit more and how they could impact finances and policy and economics. One of the items they talked about was Senate Bill 56 in the Ohio House to revise the medical adult use marijuana law. And this can make some revenue changes. And I have paperwork here too, fact sheets, if anybody wants to see me to pick these up. Another one was House Bill 129, which limits the ability to reallocate certain school property tax millage. Another one was House Bill 186 regarding school district property taxes. This was a big one. A lot of people had a lot of opinions on this. Most of the people in the Toledo area, especially up in Lucas and Wood counties, were very fearful of this one, of how this would, if this comes to pass. There's a petition going around right now, and that will, if it gets the signatures, that would be in July, and then it would be on the ballot in November. So it would probably affect townships a lot more severely and county more than us. But I'd be curious to see how much of our revenue is property tax based. Also talked about more House Bill 1309 with budget commissions, property tax, certain funds. House Bill 335, more property and sales tax legislation that's up. And also the data centers, which was interesting to me, having the IT background. And I actually seen something on the news about this before I came here today. In Oregon, they have a lot of, they're studying the impacts on the electrical grid and so forth. I don't think it's going to affect us locally quite as much, but it was interesting to hear about. And then finally, they talked about the new cybersecurity requirements, which put a smile on my face because we're ahead of the curve on that one. So, and the Ohio's revised code requiring that to be in place.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
That's good information. Anyone else have anything? Yes, Law Director.
Just to follow up on Councilmember Reesner, just for clarification, Councilmember, those are all law. Those were all signed by the governor in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, I mean, the Tiffin City School Board, in the front page of the Advertiser Tribune today, was talking about their projected shortfall of over $1 million based on the change in the law. For the city, Finance Director can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the income for last year was about $1.5 million from real estate taxes.
Okay.
Of those bills that passed, it's one of the 300s that will affect how the millage is divided up. So there's a potential that the distribution of the inside millage will change. That's up to the County Budget Commission when they meet this year on how they allocate that. So maybe helpful for Councilmember Decker, but you'll prepare a tax budget and give that to the county mid-year. So probably sometime around March or so, the Finance Director will start working on that. But you all will pass that. Usually it's in June, because I think deadline's July 1 or July 15th. But that's what they use then to allocate the millage. But based on the new law, the way in which they do that will change slightly. And so there's a chance that you'll have a slight decrease in your millage. So your revenue may go down slightly based on that. But I wouldn't anticipate a high amount. You won't see the same effect the schools do, because the schools get a large percentage of the property taxes. As to Senate Bill 56, we've talked about the marijuana. That income is starting to come in, and so you'll have some additional revenue there. But just thought I'd give you a little follow-up.
That's helpful. Thank you. Oh, Mayor, yes.
I did have a question. Mostly this is for the Law Director and Nick Dutrow, the City Administrator. Should we be reading ordinance 2026-13 under suspension? That's the one for holiday pay for the non-union employees. Because by the time we have our next meeting, there will be a holiday, and that might have some of the engineering department that we talked about earlier possibly working on that day if the contractor is working and they need inspections.
I'd say that's in council's prerogative. It does not have a emergency clause, though.
Right, that's
So
true.
it would not go into effect right away, so it still would not be in effect before the next meeting.
Okay, I just
We
just
had a
wanted to make sure that we
conversation about
didn't-
earlier today, and the engineering department, the city engineer Watson understands that that wouldn't be in effect right away. So
okay. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss something that was
Sure.
intended.
I think we wanted to give council the opportunity to continue mulling this over for a couple more meetings if they'd like.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Anything else for council this evening? All right, we can adjourn. Thank you. John, I was thinking how many.
Better good.